Hey, welcome to another episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Nesler. Appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week. I hope you've been enjoying the episodes that we've been putting out. We had quite a few of them in the can before the coronavirus shutdown happened, and I'm thankful for that. We've been able to push out some good content for you. We do have some new ones coming in the coming weeks, talking to some well-known brands about what they're doing during this time. How are they proceeding with their marketing? And I can tell you firsthand from the Moto clients that we are working with at Impakt Results that those that have decided to push when others are pulling are reaping the benefits. We have clients that are up 33% over last month because there is a unique opportunity that I think you need to keep in mind if you're considering social media. There have been so many people that have pulled out that the dollar that you spend on something like Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube ads, it's going to go a lot further now because others have pulled. So your ad spend is reaching those that it might not have in the past. And then there's also the increased amount of time that people are spending looking at their phones and things like that. So several of our clients, actually all of our clients, are either status quo or up. So it's something that I want you to keep in mind. If you're a marketing director, if you're a CEO, whatever you are, if you have control or decision-making power in the marketing side of things, it's something to consider. I understand it's a little scary. Times are uncertain right now, but it is what it is. The numbers are what they are, and if you do your marketing the right way, you've got a unique opportunity to reach new heights. So, hey, we've got a little bit of a unique episode for you today. I am joined by Melissa and Dylan from an organization called YORR. It's short for Youth Off-Road Riders, and it's somebody that the way we actually met, they listened to one of the podcast episodes and they reached out and asked me a question. I was intrigued by the question, so I jumped on a call with them only to learn that they have a program in their home state, in their community, that is getting a lot of new riders into the sport. It's helping gear brands sell gear and apparel to folks that and kids that didn't ride before joining the Youth Off-Road Riders program. It's something that's helping them grow the sport in their community. I was intrigued by it. We talk a little bit about how they can get new sponsors to help them with their program, but it's just a really cool organization that I think the sport needs more of, and I think this is a good time for it. Really cool story. Great group of people. Really appreciated Melissa and Dylan coming on. So hope you guys enjoy the episode with Melissa and Dylan from YORR. Let's dive into it.
Welcome to the Moto Marketing Podcast, presented by RacerX, the podcast for moto industry professionals, entrepreneurs, and riders. If you want to grow your brand and business in today's digital-first world, you have to know how to turn a stranger into a fan, turn a like into a customer. You have to know how to turn attention into dollars. This podcast is dedicated to keeping you in the know on real marketing tactics that work in the moto world so that you grow your business and help grow the sport. Get ready to learn from the very same marketing experts trusted by RacerX, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, GNCC, and NBC Sports. They'll help you navigate the world of digital marketing for your moto brand. This is the Moto Marketing Podcast. Presented by RacerX.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast. We got another unique episode today. Somebody that I'm excited to have these folks on. They're with an organization called Youth Off-Road Riders, or short, they call it YORR. I've got Dylan and Melissa on the phone with me today. A really cool organization that I'm excited for them to talk about, and then we're going to talk about what they've done to grow that organization and what they need to do a better job of in the future. So, Dylan and Melissa, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you guys on as guests today.
Thank you. We're excited to talk and spread the word on Youth Off-Road Riders. I'm Dylan Nerrill. We're both from Wisconsin Rapids, in the middle of Wisconsin, and we're just trying to grow the word on motocross riding and off-road dirt bike riding.
Awesome. And Melissa, tell us a little bit about you as well.
So like Dylan said, I'm right here in Wisconsin Rapids, so it's right in the middle of the state. I am a interior designer by day, and then by evening I shift over to youth leadership in this program. So a lot different, but it's fun to play with I would say project development side of this program instead of always just working in homes. So.
Yeah, it's. I was intrigued when we had our first conversation, just everything that you all are doing, and it is, you do pronounce it YORR for short, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure I didn't butcher that for you. So you all had listened to one of the early episodes of the podcast, and Dylan, I think you'd reached out on Instagram, and originally I just hopped on a call with you guys to see if I could help. And then once I heard your story and what you were doing, I was super intrigued and thought you would make a really good podcast guest. And honestly, just more people need to know about this program and what you all are doing. So give us an idea of what is the program, and what exactly does it consist of? Because I think that's the magical piece to this whole component, is exactly who you guys are and what you're doing.
Okay, so for the youth off-road riders, it's a couple levels through the program, but the general census is we have a group of youth leaders that are current racers. They teach riders who have never rode before. We put up flyers, put on the internet, and kids sign up for their first time to ride on a bike. We provide the bikes, the gear, and the location, and they get about 2 hours of instruction and riding, and usually it comes to kind of a close with a lap on a track or a couple laps on a track that we're at, so that they get the excitement. It stays with them. And that group of youth leaders is kids that have raced for, I don't know, anywhere from just started racing to been racing for 10, 15 years. And those kids teach other kids, and we've seen that is kind of the best way to get them interested in listening on how to ride. And then there is a group of adult leaders, myself being one of them, who have raced and rode our whole lives, 30 plus years for some people. And we kind of are there as mentors to the youth leaders for teaching these new kids the proper and safe way to ride.
That's awesome. And Melissa, would you give us a rundown on, I believe you both had shared some numbers as far as, what the size of your organization is as far as riders getting into the sport, and how much new ridership you're pumping into your local area. Is that something that you could share with us, just to give people an idea of, you're making an impact in the sport? There needs to be more of this. I think that's something that I'd like for people to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Our first year that we started doing youth off-road riders, the riding clinics, we put just over 100 kids through the program, and we saw 10 to 15% of those kids buying bikes. We had about 30% buying gear. So that was exciting for us, because we went in saying, okay, well, how about 10% was our goal? So once we passed that, it was, to us, a milestone that we were doing something correct. Last year was our second year, and we ended up tripling the numbers that we did the first year that we had the program started. So in 2018, we put just over 300 kids through our clinics. We had that same percentage of bikes and gear purchased. Fly Racing is one of our big sponsors, and I know our local reps are seeing an impact of that. So right now we have a handful of dealerships that are supporting us. They're all giving us the same type of feedback, that they're seeing more kids come into their dealerships looking for bikes. So it's exciting. I mean, we're seeing a big impact. We're seeing racers turn out of these riders by the end of the season. And to us, we're really, the biggest thing that we're seeing is families are starting to ride together. So we're starting with one of the children, and then it goes to a brother. And then the next year, a lot of times we don't see the girls right away, but then that transitions into the daughters coming in. And then all of a sudden the mom and dads are both being a part of it as well. So to us, that's a huge accomplishment. That's our goal for all of us, because we are all very tight as a family, individually and as a race family. And it's growing industry in lots of different areas, not just in the youth side.
Yeah, that's what got me so excited when we had talked the first time, is just hearing, just in your all's area, how much new ridership you're pumping into the sport. And I mean, it's just a trickle-down effect. The dealerships see the benefit from it. The gear companies see a benefit from it. Eventually the local tracks see the benefit from it as they get intrigued and actually begin to race. And to be honest, I think there needs to be more of this around the country. What's the big picture goal for your organization? Is it something that you want to just grow locally? Is it something that you'd like to figure out how to help people replicate this model in different parts of the country, or have you thought that far?
Yeah, absolutely. We have. So our goal is to go across the country. We'd like to see it increase all states because, I mean, we're part of District 16 and our goal is to help grow those districts and make them stronger. And so part of us is like, how do we start to expand? We're willing to travel. Sometimes that takes funds to do because we all do have full-time jobs too. So it's between time and funds, I would say, is the biggest hurdle for the expansion of that. We have talked to a couple neighboring states. We're starting to get interest on that. We've also been contacted by somebody out in Texas. We've had California, and we've also had New York, that have similar programs, but they're interested in learning more about our program because it is taken off. So we are almost complete with our program development, where we can go in and actually train it to these other facilities so that way they can be as successful as our program. The other thing that our goal for this year is to start getting our foot into the local school systems. We feel that riding a dirt bike is something that all kids should learn, and there's lots of benefits and skill sets that they'll learn for future. So we're looking at trying to get into their gym programs and seeing if we can get it involved as a sport, as some kids don't feel it is, but there's lots of benefits to it. And we all see that with our children. And so that's important to us. So that's kind of a direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I love everything about this. I think it's awesome. So growing up as a Moto fan, I never ran a Moto track. We didn't have a ton of them where I'm from. I'm from the same town that Racer X is based in, and it just, you'd have to go to PA to really get into the scene. But I did grow up racing and running a BMX racetrack. I ran the only BMX bicycle racetrack in West Virginia, and just from that, I know the struggle that I went through as far as trying to get new people in the sport. And BMX is a very inexpensive sport compared to Moto, and as far as the danger factor from a parent's eye, it's way less dangerous than Moto. So you guys have phenomenal numbers with this organization and the classes and the sheer volume of riders coming through that. What are some of the things you're doing to draw that turnout and that ridership and get the buy-in not only from the parent to let their kid do it, but then getting them to make the commitment, the financial commitment that this sport requires? What are some of the things you've done to spread that word and get the traction you've gotten?
I think like our biggest asset in that is we have a safe environment. We put them in all the safety gear right away. We do a lot of explaining. We have a meeting before the day starts with the families, informing them, this is dangerous. However, this is kind of how safety can be promoted. And with them teaching, with the kids teaching the kids, it seems to be like a lot lighter of an atmosphere, which keeps them wanting to continue with the program and continue riding. And I think that it's all a family. So when they come through and they want to go to the races, they ask us, what races are you guys going to? Does anyone in your group race? And they go and they get led through the races step by step. So it's continuous development from stage one of never seeing or being on a dirt bike all the way through.
Yeah.
To their
How are you guys initially getting them there, though? A kid that's never ridden before to now he's showing up. Is it just the testimonials that your current riders are giving as far as, hey, to a friend, hey, you got to come try this? Or are you going out and getting completely new audiences that have never been on a motorcycle, been to a motorcycle track? Like, what does that look like that you're attracting this rider base?
The rider base is all brand new, or I'm going to say probably 90%
Wow.
of the riders are new to the industry. Not their families don't know how to work on the bikes. The
That's
families
crazy.
don't even know where to get the bikes. Right now, we have a lot of the riders are coming from Facebook. They're seeing the recommendations that other families have had. The families that are, because the kids are in head to toe gear, the families just are pumped about it. So of course they're sharing it on all their social media sites saying, hey, we went to this clinic, and then it gets people talking about, well, where did you try that? And I think it's just from that is a good chunk of it. The other ones are our dealerships and our local tracks, and the supporters that we have put us on their websites and kind of cross over. So we do get people who stop in the dealerships, and a lot of the ones that support us put our brochure right on their youth bikes. So that way they can offer, hey, if your child doesn't know how to ride this, here's an opportunity for them to go get trained on it. So yeah, it is new, and a lot of it's just coming. I would say a large chunk is social media. We did have our group was on the cover of AMA magazine or American Motorcyclist, and that triggered a lot of conversation as well. But that was from people who were already in the industry. So
Right.
Our focus is awareness to those that don't know about it.
And I relate the program a lot to, most people are familiar with like Try It Hockey, where they have a couple nights where you can go pay a little bit, they put you in gear, and you can try out hockey. Well, that's kind of what we did, but only in the motorsports world. It's an expensive sport. They have to find a spot to try it out before they're willing to fork out that money.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You put it so simply, and what took you 5 seconds to explain, I think, might be the biggest component of this. That if there are folks in other parts of the country that want to do something similar to what you're doing, you've got to give people that aren't involved in the sport the opportunity to try it before they buy in. And I think that might be the secret sauce to what you guys are doing. And then obviously you've got everything locked down so tight that the experience, once they do get in and they go through it, the majority of them end up participating at some level. What do you think you need to do a better job of from an exposure standpoint? Is there an area that you feel like you're dropping the ball on, whether it be from a time standpoint or just not knowing what to do?
I think some of it is, we really just need to get the support of the industry. We are giving back to the industry in big ways, and it's only getting bigger. And we've had a hard time getting some sponsors from the industry to buy in. We have some local sponsors that have done good, and our local fly reps and some other companies have done good. But in order to expand, because everything is so expensive with gear and bikes and everything, we do need that of financial or donations to kind of keep the program going. It's a non-profit, so we're all volunteering our time, but we still need resources to continue to grow the program.
Yeah, I think we might have discussed this privately on one of our phone conversations. Just a matter of, for some brands, and Fly sounds like to be one of those brands, it's a no-brainer to get behind you, because if you can get little Johnny and Samantha involved in the sport, and the first thing they've ever put on as far as gear goes is a pair of Fly race pants and jersey and a helmet, then the chances are that's probably going to be what they buy next. But as a whole, I feel like this industry is really good about working together to try to grow the sport. So maybe the folks at Tucker Power Sports get involved. Maybe Rocky Mountain ATV MC as an online retailer. These folks are going to see the value in what you're doing, as long as you spell it out for them, which the numbers that you guys shared at the very beginning of the show, hey, this is how much new ridership our little program's pumping into the sport. This is what we need. This is what we need. This is what we can provide. What do you feel comfortable helping us with. So I would lay it out like this is where we need support, these areas here, but most importantly, this is what we're doing and this is how we feel we can bring you value. Is there anywhere that you can support us? And they might say, look, yeah, we can make this type of a donation. We can provide boots and gloves and goggles. If I'm Rocky Mountain ATVMC, that might be my response for 60 of your riders or something like that. So the mistake that some make, though, is they don't tell who they're reaching out to. Hey, here's what I can provide you. It's always about, hey, what can you hook me up? Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Make sure that when you're reaching out to these folks that you're spelling out, this is what we're doing. This is how much new ridership we're pumping in. I would get quotes from the dealers. Hey, this is what we're seeing as far as our soft goods, our apparel, our bike sales. This is what we're seeing, so that they can relate and say, oh, okay, this is a no-brainer for us. Then it's a matter of just, reaching out. I mean, it's, with podcasts, honestly, you've got the contact lists of so many people that you might not have any idea who to reach out to. Listening to this podcast, I'm bringing on the decision makers and the business side of things at so many brands. Pulp, who do they have on every single Monday? Okay, somebody from Alias, somebody from Maxxis, somebody from Guts Racing, all these people that now you know who to reach out to, so you can call Guts and ask for Andy Gregg. You can call FXR and ask for Andy White because you've heard their names, and then you tell them about your program. That would be my recommendation, because I think your program makes such sense for brands to get behind. It's just a matter of they don't know who you guys are. So that would be the approach I would take.
And the loyalty, like you were saying, the first thing they put in, that was the great point you made, because that's what we see. The first year they put on, even it goes as far as with the bikes. Like if they ride a Honda CRF 50 the first time, that's what they want. Even if they've come back to our intermediate classes where we grow them a little bit farther, they say, hey, I rode that one last time, I want to ride that one. We've seen it where that's where they go by, is what they rode the first time, even with the bikes. I mean, we have quite a few used bikes and some loaners from other ones, but it's, we have just about every brand, and it's like they go buy whatever they fit on or they rode on that day. So it's kind of been an interesting deal that the first thing they ride or the first track they go to or any of that, people that supported us, that's where they go back to when they do go to buy.
Yeah. It's such a cool program, and my hope for bringing you guys on is that it inspires others to reach out to you to figure out how can we bring their program to our community or, brands. How can we get involved with this? You guys are doing something pretty special that the sport needs more of. So, where can folks learn more about the program and follow what you guys are doing online?
They can find us on our website, youthoffroadriders.com. They can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think there's even a Pinterest page that we have going as well, just to come up with ideas. Otherwise, they're welcome to call us at 715-213-0068. That's my phone number. And then, or they can email us at youthoffroadriders@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on, and I encourage everybody to check it out. And I certainly will tell anybody that I know of about you and share your contact information with them, as long as you're all right with that. And again, if anybody has questions, be sure to reach out to them. I'll put the contact information in the show notes. And I really appreciate you guys coming on and talking about the program today. And most importantly, I appreciate you guys doing what you're doing, because the sport's not going to grow if we're not doing more of this type of activity within the sport. So I think it's commendable, and hopefully you get some people that reach out to you after hearing this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Luke. We appreciate you visiting with us today.
For sure.
We appreciate the time, and if anybody has any questions or wants to reach out to us, please do.
Thank you for listening to the Moto Marketing Podcast. If your goal is to get real, measurable results from your marketing that will grow your company revenue, then check out how Impakt Media can get the same results that they have for Moto's most iconic brands by visiting thinkimpakt.com. That's THINKIMPAKT.com. Have a marketing question that you want answered on the show? Send your questions to questions@motomarketingpodcast.com.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast.
And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast.